can. Check, check.
Check. It's on. That
Happy Mother's Day. Join us in celebrating. My God is so good to me.
I woke up this morning singing, God is so good. I woke up this morning singing, God is so good. I woke up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me.
when I'm shopping with my mother,
God is so good.
oh, when I'm shopping with my mother,
God is so good.
yeah, when I'm shopping with my mother,
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
now when I'm walking with my mama,
God is so good.
oh, when I'm walking with my mama,
God is so good.
yeah, when I'm walking with my mama,
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
When I'm talking with my mommy.
God is so good.
When I'm talking with my mommy.
God is so good.
When I'm talking with my mommy.
God is so good.
Oh,
My God is so good to me.
cooking with my family, I know.
God is so good.
Cooking with my family, I know.
God is so good.
Cooking with my family, I know.
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
When I'm driving with my daughter,
God is so good.
ooh, when I'm driving with my daughter,
God is so good.
when I'm driving with my daughter,
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Come on, Gresham.
when my mama calls me in,
God is so good.
when my mama calls me in,
God is so good.
when my mama calls me in,
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
I am grateful for my mom.
God is so good.
I am grateful for my mom.
God is so good.
I am grateful for my mom.
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Every day and every way. Let's tell them, ladies.
Every day, in every way, God is so good. Every day, in every way, God is so good. When I take the time to praise the Spirit, God is so good. My God is so good to me.
When I'm singing with my sister.
God is so good.
Oh, when I'm singing with my sister.
God is so good.
Oh, when I'm singing with my sister.
God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Every day and every way, let's say.
Every day, in every way, God is so good. Every day, in every way,
Come on,
God is so good. And I take the time to praise the Spirit. God is so good. My God is so,
Oh,
my God is so, my God is so good to me.
invite you to join us. We'll establish it for you, and then we invite you to join in. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful, wonderful Spirit. Pour your joy. Pour your joy in me. Pour your joy in me. Pour your joy into my heart. Oh, wonderful, wonderful Spirit. Pour your love in me. Pour your love in me. Pour your love into my heart. Wonderful Spirit. Sing your song in me. Sing your song into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Dance and smile in me. Dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Dance and smile. Dance and smile in me. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful, wonderful Spirit. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living San Jose, the place where we transform lives, build dreams, and reveal love. Where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. Welcome home. My name is Liz Fedina. I'm a member of your core council, and I also co-lead the Sunday morning chanting. And I'm very happy to be spending my Sunday morning with all of you. If you're joining us via live streaming, good morning to you, or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. Ann Stayskull is your moderator this morning, and I know that she'll make you feel right at home, no matter where you're joining us from. And if you're visiting for the very first time, a very special welcome to you. We're so glad you're here. And I invite you to spend some time with us out in Fellowship Hall after the service. You can grab a cup of coffee, check out our information wall that has details about our upcoming events, and be sure to stop by our concierge desk where our team members are eager to answer your questions and to share a welcome packet with you that's filled with information about us and all the different ways you can connect with us. And if staying after service doesn't work for you, we've got you covered. We left welcome packets out in our foyer, so be sure to pick one up. You know, the very best thing about this community is this community. And each week we celebrate the blessing that we are to each other. So please join me in sharing a warm hello, a handshake, or a hug with someone near you. You may just make their day.
Good morning. Good morning, CSL San Jose, and good morning to our love streamers coming in from all kinds of places, I hear. I'm Linda Joy, and I will be your professional prayer practitioner for this morning. And Michelle will be leading us in a chant. into 2 minutes of silence, and it'll be followed by our prayer and our affirmation. And as you settled into this, move into the chant, if you could take just a moment to check your cell phones and see that they are in the silent mode. Thank you.
Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, wonderful Spirit, wonderful Spirit.
Take a breath, let go, and fall further into that sweet silence. In that space, recognize there is only one God, one life, perfect, whole, complete, and eternal. And that life is my life now. That life is our life. There is no thing that is not of Spirit. Spirit holds us in the same unconditional love that a mother gives a child. The presence moves in, around, and through us now and forever. And as we move with Spirit of life, we let our own unique light shine. As we are one in the brightness of the light like the sun, we are lights that shine into the world. And as I decide each morning as I wake to let my light shine, I also pray that each and every one of us lets our own unique gifts come forth and shine into the world. And as I choose my light to shine into the world, I give thanks for the gifts that I have and for the life that I have. And I say thank you. And in deepest gratitude, I release my word into the divine law, knowing that it is already so. and I let go. I move in the flow, and I ask you to join me in saying, and so it is. Join me in our meditation for today. The affirmation. Without reservation, I know that I now manifest and experience in all fullness and completeness God's perfect idea of me, and in all respects, every action, function, and structure of my body now conforms to it.
Each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings who we are. That's morning stars rise and sing who we are. For we are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the spirit of God. We are mothers of tradition. Fathers of time, we are wonders, dreamers of the vision, sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are one, like we are one, nations, speakers of truth and keepers of faith. We are melodies, we are wisdom, we are our grandmother's prayers. Our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the spirit of God. We are mothers of grandfathers and fathers of time. We are one, just we are one, nations, sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are one, like we are one.
Good morning. I'm Dorcas Kelly, and I am totally thrilled to be your insight speaker for the morning. Woohoo! So in January, I had the very good fortune of being with a group of folks that went to Bali. What a fabulous trip. If you have a chance to go on that trip, do it, do it, do it. Awesome. I learned so much on that trip, and this morning I just want to touch upon 3 particular lessons that I got because they came in a very unusual form, that of a little tiny kitten. And you might have heard Dr. David talking earlier about the Bali kitten, and this is about the Bali kitten. So I discovered the Bali kitten in a little courtyard that was in one of the temples we went to, and she was very small. She was in the middle of this courtyard, surrounded by people selling drinks and food and guiding tours and things like that, and she was meowing pretty loud for this little thing. And I swooped in and picked her up and took her over to the side away from all of those feet and started to pet her and make a new friend. And it was clear that she was starved for affection because she started to purr right away. Very cool little kitten. But it was also very clear that she was starved. She was starving. She was dying. She was skin and bones. She was filthy, and she had infections in her eyes. She had worms. It was clear that there was no mama cat there to take care of her, either feline or human to take care of her. So I stayed with her and petted her for a while, and then I tried to give her a little my protein bar that was in my backpack. And my friend Amber came up and gave me a little bit of her protein bar or your mom's protein bar, one of the two. And we tried to feed the kitten that. And we discovered that protein bars aren't really on cats' diets. They don't know quite what to make of them. She tried a little bit. She was polite and tried a little bit and then said, no, thank you. But we sat there and petted her for a while, but pretty soon my group was leaving. And I had to leave the temple, and I had to leave the kitten behind. And I was thinking, what could I do? Thinking, God, I'm helpless. I'm helpless here. I'm a tourist. I don't live here. I cannot adopt this cat. I cannot take it to a vet. I don't know where a vet is. There's really nothing I can do. So I left the temple and felt very sad about that. And very soon that sadness turned into anger. I got angry about the plight that this kitten was in. And from there it was just a quick jump into judgment and blame. And I blamed and judged those people working in the temple that they were allowing this kitten to die in front of their eyes. I couldn't believe it, how heartless they were. And then it was just a little short hop to actually blame and judge all of the Balinese people. They're all of them. They're all to blame for this kitten. And I stayed in this place of judgment and blame all day long. And not surprisingly, I had a pretty miserable day. So I was not enjoying the vacation. I didn't like the people I was with. I didn't enjoy the beautiful scenery. I was just fuming, judging and blaming about this kitten. And I went to bed that night, and as you might imagine, I did not sleep very well that night. I woke up about 4 a.m, and I really felt like some type of divine hand had been slapping me about during the evening. Because I woke up with a realization in my head that here I was judging and blaming these people for not doing anything, and yet that's exactly what I was doing. Nothing. So I thought, well, okay, let's see what I can do about that. Got out of bed and at 4 a.m. started to search the internet. And I found that in the entire island of Bali, this island of a lot of abandoned dogs and cats, there was only one cat rescue shelter. And it was luckily about 20 minutes away from where we were. So I made a resolution that somehow that day I would go back to that temple and get that kitten and take her to that shelter. And I immediately felt better. Suddenly life looked like it was worth living after all. Bali looked gorgeous again. The people I was with were interesting again. Yeah, everything looked better. My headache disappeared. My body wasn't aching either. And later on that morning, my friend Amber and we actually went to the temple, rescued the kitten, and took her to the shelter. So all of this, thanks. So all of this happened in the span of about 24 hours. And from that 24 hours, I got 3 really important lessons from this. One is how easy it is to fall into that place of judgment and blame. Without even thinking about it, without even being conscious of it, I just dove right in there. The second was really recognizing what a toll it takes on you to be in that place of judgment and blame. I felt horrible. Life looked horrible. It was all bad. And the third lesson was how, at least for me, how seductive it was to tell myself that I was helpless, that there was nothing I could do, that it was out of my hands, that there was just, what could I do? I was just a tourist. And yet, with how little time it took for me to actually find one thing, just one thing I could do for that kitten. I couldn't save all of the cats in Bali, but I could at least help that one little kitten. So as kind of a little epilogue, Amber and I did take the cat to the shelter, but she didn't last more than about 2 weeks. She was just too sick, and she didn't have the energy to fight anymore. And Amber and I talked about this, but what we really realized was that during that 2 weeks, she had a roof over her head, she had a warm blanket, she had food, she had water, and most important, she had people who loved her. And that was the best gift that we could give her. Thank you.
That was a very, very, very good trip. And what I learned about Dorcas is that Dorcas was like a mother for that cat. I woke up, I actually was on that trip. I saw the interaction that Dorcas had with the kitten and the vendors near the kitten. I saw that one day. And then the next day I saw Dorcas at breakfast, where suddenly she'd become overnight some spiritual mom. Because she walked right up to the face of every one of us and didn't ask if we wanted to donate to her cause. She wanted to know how much we would donate to her cause. I think, we were also generous. I think that she financed the cat rescue for a year or something like that. For those of you, who are wondering, there will be 34 of us from this community who will be going back to Bali, or who will be going to Bali for the first time, if that would be you, in January. We have 3 spaces left. There are only 3 left. So if you want to be one of the 34 who are joining us from January 6th through 17 in 2015, see me after the service. Hi, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to you. I'm David Bruner. I am the senior minister, and I am the spiritual director here at the center. And it feels like I've been gone for a very, very long time. I've only not been here 2 Sundays. Last Sunday I was in Querétaro, Mexico, and the week before that I was here in Northern California, but I was guest speaking at the Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living. But it's really, really good to be home, to be back here with you. So last Sunday I was in Querétaro. I was with my extended Mexican family. Now, every 20 years, the Lopez family gets together for a reunion. They go somewhere. Now, it starts out with Mauricio's father and his father's sister and other sister. There's only 3 of the 13 of them remaining. But those 3 and everybody in their family that's trickled down, even the in-laws like me. So there were 180 of us that started in Mexico City. I know, small Mexican family. And we were all in one Suburban. Actually, we were all in the front seat. Nobody was in the back. If you know anything about Latinos, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you're going to have judgment about me, but I'm okay with that. Revisit Dorcas's message. So we went from Mexico City to Querétaro, and Querétaro is a neighboring state to Mexico City. And Querétaro is known as the Mexican Philadelphia. It's the place from which the revolution began. And we didn't stay in the city, Santiago de Querétaro. We stayed in a hacienda outside of the city limits. And so there were 180 of us all wearing shirts, Nosotros los Lopez. And we had contests against each other every day, like wall rock climbing and zip lining and races with cuadromotos, with 4-wheelers. And it's stunning to do all this in a country that doesn't have OSHA. Seriously. Yeah, I asked, I was looking at the single cable for the zip line. And if you know zip lining in the U.S., there's a cable, there's the default cable, and then you've got several clips that default behind that too. And so I looked at the single rusty cable. And I asked the man in my broken Spanish, I said, so how often do you replace the cable? He said, whenever it breaks. I'm not kidding. We had a great time. And last Saturday, a week ago Saturday, we played polo on donkeys. Burro polo. So they pictured that they bring 12 donkeys into a soccer field, and then put 11 Mexicans and 1 American on top of the backs of these burros. And instead of having the long hammer that a polo player uses, they give you a house broom. So you hurt neither the animal nor your other players. And instead of the hard wooden polo ball, they use a big soccer ball. So there were 12 burros, none of which wanted to move. I mean, we were like and squeezing and patting the butt, and they were just like not moving. And then like my father-in-law's getting behind them and pushing them like this. And some of the folks who were in their 80s and 90s were told it's probably not safe. It's the only time I heard anybody in Mexico ever say it's probably not safe for you to get on these burros. So their grandchildren, who are in their 20s, put their grandparents piggyback style on them and gave them a broom and were running amidst the burros and the donkeys. And it's the only time on my trip that I did not miss you. Can you see why? It was just stunning. So last Sunday we left the hacienda and we went into the city of Santiago de Querétaro so we could visit it. It was beautiful, a beautiful pueblito. The way you imagine old Mexico to be. It's stunning, it's clean, it's safe, and there's lots of taco and street vendors. Now, I'm a mutt from East LA, so I can eat rocks and digest them, except usually. So I had some street food, and all the Lopez were like, no, don't eat that street food. And when I can eat this, well, Wednesday of this week, I finally went to the doctor. Because have you ever heard of something called Montezuma's Revenge? Yeah, well, I had it, and Montezuma was pissed off at me. He was mad. And I was a little worried, because you remember that whole spinach stuff we had here in the U.S. a few years ago? So I started on the obsession of like this is not just Montezuma's Revenge, but of course, I'm going to die. So I went to Kaiser, and I go to Kaiser about once a year to have blood tests, because that's what someone my age is supposed to do. So I went to Kaiser because I really needed some help. And while I was there at Kaiser, the doctor pushed and prodded. My blood pressure's fine. I have no fever, no nausea, no dizziness, no anything. I just have this condition down here, this serious condition, making it very awkward to spend a few minutes on the freeway because you never know. You guys know what I'm talking about? I'm doing my best, tell you like it is without telling you too much, because First Service was just grossed out. They did. I'm sure we will never see them again. And I even, and those of you here, and first those of you who were here, because you're singing, you're like going. So the doctor, I said, so can you give me some antibiotics? Because I'm a doctor, I said, give me some antibiotics. He said, well, we don't really know what's going on, so I need you to submit a sample. And I got to tell you, so this is when I really began to miss my mother. I began to miss my mother. But that's actually not true. I wasn't missing my mother. I was missing Mom. Because Mom is the one who will be with you along the journey. And you just get the sense when Mom's around that it's going to be okay. So be in this doctor's office, as beautiful as my Kaiser experience is, by the way, beautiful. It's still a doctor's office, and I was missing Mom. So when the doctor handed me an empty pill jar, and then 3 other small ones with various liquids and attached spoons to them, and a brown paper bag and a plastic bag with a hazard sign on it, and then a pair of purple plastic gloves, and then a tongue depressor, and said, submit a sample. I was missing Mom. Because I was thinking, my revenge is so bad, I don't know what I'm going to get with that stick. So yeah, let me go back to what First Service told me, not tell too much. So, I submit a sample or not, nature was calling, and I ran into the men's room, and the men's room at Kaiser, and I was in the men's room at Kaiser, praying. Like it wasn't like the prayers we were taught in ministerial school, the 5-step spiritual mind treatment. There's one God, common to all and through anything. You and I are part of that God, therefore life is good, and I'm grateful, and I can let this go. No, this was like, oh God! It's like prayers with Montezuma's Revenge and prayers in a casino. Those are the real prayers. You really mean it, Prayers in a church, you might kind of mean it, but this was real. So it was after like 20 minutes, I was done. So thank God I didn't have one of those toilets that has like the seeing eye that's watching everything that you're doing. It actually had the standard, old-fashioned American standard chrome, beautiful chrome polished, pressurized, non-tanked kind of toilet. So if you push the handle down, but instead I pushed the handle down and the water, but it just kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going, and then the toilet started going over, and it started going onto the floor. Well, thank God it was in a hospital, because they had a string hanging from the ceiling with this red plastic tag that's in case of emergency, and I thought, this is an emergency. So I pulled it down, and like in seconds, a man didn't come in like you'd expect a man to come in a men's room. In seconds, Jesus came in. And Jesus was disguised as an African-American woman in a cleaning uniform, older than the grandmother of any one of us in this room. And she came right in, and it was like my prayers for Mama happened, because she didn't even like yell at me for what's on it. She just said, "You need a cup of hot chocolate." And I said to her, I mean, like this close to tears. I said to her, but the doctor said, he said, no fatty foods, no spicy foods, and no dairy. And she said, he's a very smart man, but he doesn't know everything. So she said, if you go down to pediatrics on the 2nd floor, they have hot chocolate. So I went down to the place where the chairs are about this big, and I set myself down like this, and I had my little cup of hot chocolate, and I began, wow, this is so Balinese. I'm just going to pick some rice later. I began to have this awareness of what our topic is about today. And our topic is, there are always results. Always. Although my prayer on the commode at Kaiser on Broadway and MacArthur wasn't the prayer that we might teach you in foundations class, it was a real prayer, nonetheless. And when you pray with a real need, coupled with a real surrender to a power that knows only good, you will get results. Jan van Sant calls it your holiness. You will then meet your holiness. You will then experience your holiness. And I did, and mine happened to be an African-American woman who sent me down for chocolate, and I've been well ever since. The topic title, there are always results. This emerges from the chapter that we as a community are exploring in our book of the year this week. There are always results. And it states that the person who intentionally and willingly enters into communion with the thing itself. You, regardless of your degrees, or your age, or your wisdom, or your level of forgiveness, you will get results. There are always results. But I've noticed something about my tribe. You're my tribe. I've noticed something about us that think a lot. We sometimes think our prayers so much so that we never even pray because we're too busy trying to get the form right. We want to be perfect with it. And then we never really enter into relationship. And so all the while, there's this great big holiness around waiting for us to dive into it or to use it or to utilize it or to be fueled by it. And we're not, because we're obsessed with getting it right. But then you're in trouble, and then you have Montezuma's Revenge, and then you find you've no alternative, because right now the brain cells are not all firing in the same direction of the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment. Right now they're like just trying to survive, or just trying not to die, or trying not to let everybody in the hospital know what's really going on in there. And then something sweet and beautiful begins to emerge. The topic that has been really interesting to me is the moving from mental science. Not moving, not discounting or discarding mental science, but the moving away from mental science once you've learned it, towards spiritual science, because there's a distinction. Mental science is changing your thinking to change your life. Mental science is adjusting your attitude. Mental science is your ability to utilize the 5 steps of affirmative prayer. Mental science is remembering to use affirmation or writing it on your mirror with lipstick or putting Post-its around. That's mental science. And mental science is fantastic to handle your earth-based needs. Like to manage what it's like to go through bankruptcy or foreclosure or divorce, or your kids on drugs, or alarms on cars are going off. That's the ability to use mental science. But spiritual science is a departure from that. See? People online are going, what are they laughing at? You have to be here. Now, Ann Stayskill is the moderator on the online folks, and right now she's probably with about 80 folks or so. There was a car alarm going off, and just as I mentioned spiritual science, it stopped. Spiritual science is when we've learned all that we can learn from mental science. We've learned it, and now spiritual science is using it in your world. And you'll use it especially in the presence of what appears to be its opposite. It's not like you can use it once the world finally gets perfect. It's actually what we use to experience perfection in a world that often appears not to be. So Iyanla Vanzant has a video out on Hay House, and I watched it this week, and it was beautiful and uplifting to me, because in her video she describes 3 things that she wants her audience to do that bring about results. There are 3 things that you and I can do to always cause us results if we actually use them. 1 is to take care of your physical body. 2 is to remember to laugh. And 3 was no whining, no complaining. Take care of your physical body, remember to laugh, no whining, no complaining. If you take care of your body, you will get results. If you remember to laugh, you will get results. If you stop whining or complaining, you will get results. And that's what we're up to this week. We want to get results. It's like when you go on a diet. When you go on a diet, you lose like a pound or 2 pounds. Suddenly you've got enough results to inspire you into action, because now you've experienced a little bit of result. Or you start going to the gym, and suddenly you notice that you actually have a pack under there. Even if you didn't see 6 of them, you just saw the beginnings of one or the shadows of one. Do you guys know we all have 6 packs here? We all have them. We haven't seen them in a while, but we have them. Some of you just like are in denial and don't want to talk about this. So take care of your physical body. To Iyanla Vanzant, that means rest well, eat well. Rest well, eat well. There was a time when I actually could process probably sticks and twigs. There was a time when I could have an unlimited amount of sugar, caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, and then just sort of get up and go to work as if nothing happens. And now if I have just a little bit too much sugar, I'm like hungover for 3 days. Now, there are some who think that that's a religious science blasphemy. But I've noticed something. My body is aging. But I'm not resisting it anymore, mostly. When I consider the alternative, I'd much rather live a life where even like if every week or so I suddenly discover a new pain or a new interesting occurrence. But what is coming up for me is to take care of my body, and then I get results. So rest well, eat well. Rest well, eat well. What does rest well mean? Well, take a nap. I know some of you like you've been waiting for me to tell you this, but let me tell you this: a nap is usually 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, I know. And then those of you who just went, oh, no, a nap is not 8 hours. A nap is 10 to 15 minutes. Taking a nap is a lovely thing. I don't recommend you do it while you're on 280, but take a nap. Rest well. Some recommendations we have about resting is this. If you wake up on Tuesday, go to bed on Tuesday. Slowly it moves through the crowd. Because in Silicon Valley, or those of you who are high-powered watching this, you don't know what that means. You wake up on Tuesday, you go to bed on Wednesday. And then you wake up on Wednesday and you go to bed on Thursday. But that's not really the cycle of your body. I know there's a few of you here who say you're night owls. I used to say that too. The truth is I just wanted to avoid people. Wow, I shouldn't be so honest about any of this stuff today. Like the first service, we'll never see any of you again. Rest well, eat well. Eat well. I mean, why do we want to do this? Let's tell the truth. Are any of you here over 40? Oh, come on. Seriously? There you go. This is the house of the Lord. Stop lying. And you want to know something? When I tell people I'm 60, they go, wow, you look fantastic. When I tell people I'm 20, they go, you look like hell. If you're going to lie, lie in the other direction. That's impressive. If you lie in the other direction, you look ridden hard and put away wet. How many of you in this... So how many of you here are over 40? That's two. You know, isn't there something interesting about it? Before 40, I could see perfectly. And then like on the eve of my 40th birthday, I went to bed. And then on my 40th birthday, I woke up. It was like I suddenly couldn't see. I had to buy like those multi-packs of readers from Costco, and I leave one hanging on the toilet paper roll holder. I leave one in the on my nightstand. I leave one in the kitchen. I leave one next to the remote controls. I leave one where I plug in my iPhone because I can't see those things anymore. But you know, I'm not ashamed of this. Some people think it's really taboo. Like you should have some shame in wearing glasses. Well, you know, if I need nutrition, I eat. If I need to supplement it, I take a vitamin. If I need to see, I put on my glasses. And to me, that's the way God's showing up right now. God's showing up as my pair of glasses. I'm okay with this. So Iyanla Vanzant said there's some reality to what takes place in the human body that we like to avoid. She said when she turned 40, she couldn't see. When she turned 45, she said the girls would no longer get up. And she said, and my holiness couldn't come make them do it. And then she said when she turned 47, she noticed a little spot of cellulite on one leg. And then a couple days later, it had invited over a friend. And then a week later, they were having a barbecue on both of her. And then she said she tried saging it away. And then she said, I like sage you. Your highest good is elsewhere. Go quickly. Go to it. Our bodies are doing what our bodies are doing, but there are things that we can do to assist it or things we can do to hinder it. And if you want to get results, rest well, eat well. Every raw food cleanse I've gone on, and they're typically like 20 to 21 days, and there are some of us who say, oh my God, that's just too difficult. It's stunning how the body responds when it's suddenly given live food for a very strong period of time, as opposed to having food that's constantly being modified or engineered food. Anything with a UPC, except anything that's like a vegetable that's wrapped over it fresh and easy. Anything with a UPC typically is engineered. Try it sometime. I'm glad that this week is not my week to be doing that. So if you want results, rest well, eat well. Secondly, if you want results, find something to laugh at. While I was in that bathroom at Kaiser, I was not really in a laughing mood. But I heard the echoes of a comedian in my head that said, if it'll be funny later, it's funny now. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. If it'll be funny later, it's funny now. So, I'm still working on that one. Find something to laugh at. Spiritual folks, mostly, are so darn serious about their spirituality that they forget that their holiness has a sense of humor. You know, they're pretty much moving through the world offended, constantly offended. Like they're protecting the world from some victimization. That their brows are frequently pursed together and they look like they've been sucking a lemon from here to Santana Row. But people who get results laugh often. And in our world, we could use laughter. But laughter is so readily available. It's everywhere. But laughter isn't just something that happens when someone tells a good joke. Laughter is really a way of moving through the world. Moving through the world with a sense of lightness and possibility. When you do that, you will get results. And lastly, no whining and no complaining. So I told you that I'm really interested in high mysticism. And I'm currently developing a class. I'm not sure if it'll be 4 weeks or 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks. I'm enthralled with taking mental science another step and moving into spiritual science using high mysticism. But you cannot enter into the use of high mysticism unless you practice its first practice. And its first and final practice is no whining, no complaining. So I've been practicing this myself, and I've noticed when I'm conscious about complaining how often I do it without thinking that I'm doing it. And complaining is like this. You shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. People shouldn't be slowing down that. The person shouldn't be in the fast lane if they're driving that slow. They ought to be driving like this. And why is it always so hot? It's too hot. It's too hot. Why didn't anybody tell us it was in the snow in Lake Tahoe yesterday? And I'm not feeling well. What is she wearing? Now, was there any holiness in any of that? No. In fact, while that's happening, we're using universal energy to say, life sucks, life sucks, life sucks, life sucks, life sucks. And then guess what? Life sucks. And then we're like, where's God? God has left us. No, you just used God to point out and accentuate and headline how much life sucks. But no complaining, when you move into a world of no complaining, you begin to get into the mystic life. Now, it's not something I'm going to recommend for everybody, but I've been trying this out. And so anytime you make a declaration, you're going to get opportunities to practice it. Because that's the nature of life, by the way. When you make a declaration like you want the world to be peaceful, it's not like God makes you peaceful or God grants you peace because peace was missing. No, what happens now is you're going to be given opportunities to generate peace from within you. That means when you pray for your relationship to get better, get ready, because you're likely to have a fight. But that happens not because God's abandoned you or God's testing you. It happens so you have an opportunity actually to create a great relationship. Do you guys get that? Yes. So I've been having lots of opportunities to not complain. When we left Mexico City last Monday, we flew out of Mexico City, and as we were going through the equivalent of Mexico's TSA, Mauricio and I are going through the X-ray area and security, and he and I have identical Toomey backpacks in which we each carry our own notebook computers. Now, they are TSA approved, and they have what's called T-Pass, so that I don't have to take my computer out of my bag and put it in one of those little bins. Instead, I can leave it in my bag. The bag unzips such, and it lays flat, so that the computers can be x-rayed with nothing above it or beyond it, right? So Mexico City's pretty advanced. And so Mao lays his bag down and I lay mine down. His has his notebook computer in it, mine has mine in. Mao's bag goes through, Mao goes through, Mao's putting his backpack back on his bag. Mine starts to go through, the woman comes up and goes, "Stop. Is there a computer in that bag?" And I said, "Sure is, just like there is in that bag right over there." Well, she said, "I need you to take the computer out of that bag and put it in the bin." Now, naturally, right away, I'm going, "Stupid, Mexico." Right? Have you guys ever done that? Yeah, of course you have. That's why we're hanging out together. We can smell it. But I'm thinking, high mysticism. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. My pleasure, would love to. I'm on the outside. On the outside. You know, when I walk through like my doesn't stink. And Mao gives me this look like, "Thank you for not making a scene, and thank you for not getting us involved with the Policia Federal." I get on the plane, but here's what's going on. I'm still on it. I'm still on it. Me. Mexico City all the way. It doesn't matter what's on my iPad. It doesn't matter what's on my computer. It doesn't matter what movie I'm watching. It doesn't matter what conversation I'm having. Stupid people. They're just hired. All this stuff's going on. And TSA and another thing. It's going on in the United States too. Blah, 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 blah. We land in Phoenix. Fine. Go through customs. Go through immigration. But I'm still like, on the outside. My best trip ever. We land in Oakland. Who's like the first bag that comes off? Mauricio's. Mauricio's bag comes off. Mine doesn't. And the carousel's going around and around. Now, it's one of those stainless steel carousels with the belt in the middle, the belt that sort of comes out and dumps it. Can you guys picture what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about. So bags, and then the bag starts slowing down. No bag. And then I see the tip of my bag come out, and it stops. Seriously, I'm not making this up. It stops. And then I just thought, high mysticism. And then the orange light went around. You know the one that goes, but it went, and the belt went, and I saw my bag go forward, backward. And I am not making this up. And I'm thinking, if this was Mexico, where there is no OSHA, I would just climb on that stainless steel. I would grab my bag and be on with it. But in Oakland, I climb on that. I'm going to have like cops at me. So anyway, we got a hold of the U.S. Airways people. We can't climb on it. We're like, why not? In Mexico, we would climb on that thing. I would take my polo broom and knock it down. Right? No, they have to run it backwards. So I watch my suitcase as it goes back into the caverns and away. Long story short, I'm telling you this because no complaining. Because when you complain, you will get results. Happens every time. Now, while all this is happening, Mauricio's practicing the second of these three practices. He's leaning on his bag going... Because remember, I told you, find something to laugh at. It's everywhere. If you are a mother or someone involved in mothering, if you're one of those mamas who shows up and helps people like me in the bathrooms, would you please stand so we can acknowledge you? Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day. Let's pray together, shall we? I'm very, very, very grateful to be here in this room at this time. And I'm praying right now not to persuade God to give us something about which God is reluctant to give. I'm praying as a statement, as a declaration, as a commitment, that the things about which I'm about to say become real, become experienced, and become measurable. I'm taking a stand for everyone in this room and for those of you who are within earshot of my voice. And the stand that I'm taking for you is that the things about which matter to you and the things that are important to you, that they become sweetened and softened and broadened and strengthened and vital. Even as I speak, I know that the universal presence, what Ian the Van Zandt calls your holiness, what I call the thing itself, what some call source, it fairly vibrates with possibility because it is now being provided an arena in which it is free to fully orb itself. And through our practices this week of getting results, by taking care of our physical bodies regardless of age or condition, by resting well and eating well, and by our remembrance to find laughter in life itself, and through our remembrance to refrain from complaining or whining, even internally. In so doing, this universal presence is free to fully orb itself in our lives because we are not constricting it or reducing it or holding it back. And that means right now that on the unseen side of life, possibility is unlimited. And I say to the thing itself, bring it on, because the people in this room are ready for it. The people who matter to us are ready for it. The people who are watching online or listening on an MP3 right now are ready for it. Our world is ready for more peace and more joy, more love and freedom, and more forgiveness. But I'm not waiting for the rest of the world. I'm not going to wait for anyone else to do it. I'm not waiting for my president, my bank, my partner, or my family to do it. I'm doing it. I hope you'll join me. And I'll bet I'm not alone. And I'm really grateful to be here. And I'm grateful for Kaiser and hot chocolate. And so it is. Hey friends, the ushers are going to come forward and help us with the sharing of our gifts and tithes and offerings. And if you have a gift that you would like to give today, I invite you to maybe hold it over your heart, or if you're giving it with a beloved, maybe you could hold it in your hands together. But please say our giving affirmation with me. Joyful surprise. Oh, wrong one. Abundance reveals itself to me in extraordinary ways, and I embrace it. My abundant supply comes to me in an endless stream. I notice the opulence around me, and I am grateful for it.
Come together as one. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being, who has many names and is beyond all names and forms. Who has many names and is beyond all names and forms. We come together for healing. We come together as one.
together for healing. We come together as one.
Join us.
We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being, who has many names and is beyond all names and forms. Who has many names and is beyond all names and forms. We come together for healing. We come together as one. We come together for healing. We come together as one.
I have a little bit of community news for you. A reminder again, if you'd like to go with us to Bali next year, see me after service and I'll give you a little more information about that. Oh. If you would like to take a certificated class, the online registration is open on this coming Tuesday, the 13th. Classes you can register for are Beyond Limits with Reverend Susan Overland, Spiritual Economics with Linda McKay, Visioning with Debbie Slayton, and the Edinburgh Lectures with Mitzi Silverberg. There's an outreach team meeting that was rescheduled to May 25th, and tonight is a Conversations with God book study at 7:15. This coming Wednesday is the second of 4 drop-in relationship coaching gatherings. So if you're in a relationship or you want to improve it or soften it, or you're looking to get in a relationship and want some coaching on how to do that, just drop in. I'm facilitating this with Sarah Moselle. The two of us are going to be leading an hour every Wednesday night from 5:45 to 6:45. It's free and it's open to anyone. That's followed by the Wednesday night service with Reverend Susan Overland at 7 o'clock. Next Sunday is an animal blessing at 1 o'clock with Doris Hoffman. On Tuesday nights, we have an open Alcoholics Anonymous meeting here at the center. It's a rather large group. There's generally between 80 and 100 people. It's pretty powerful if you or someone you know could use group healing. There's a Better Business Breakfast that's free this coming Tuesday, and that is at 7 o'clock in the morning. Kelly Jackson is a PGA pro. She's a golfing pro, and she's donating her time to help girls who are ages 11 to 15 with self-esteem and courage. So if you have an 11 to 15-year-old girl in your life, or you know someone, please see Reverend Tony in the youth department, and Reverend Tony will get that girl signed up. It's free. In 2 weeks, there is a spiritual nutrition forum here at the center. There is a medical doctor who's exploring with a group what happens with organic food and how it applies to your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. That's on the 25th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you'd like prayer for any reason, there's free prayer after service over in the chapel area. One of our licensed prayer practitioners will pray with you. And I have 3 more things as we close. 1, next Sunday I will be here. And next Sunday our music is the Global Heart Choir. And we have a special guest. His name is Nimesh, but they call him Nemo. He was back a couple of decades ago. He was a pretty powerful and popular rap star. He had a spiritual revelation that wasn't the life he really wanted to live. So he went to India and started living in the Gandhi ashram, at which he had another revelation, and that was to use his rap for people like you and me. So he's actually back to being a rap star, but he's using like Daniel Nahmod and other New Thought, Ricky Byer type music. So he's going to be here next Sunday. He's going to be singing with the Global Heart Choir, and he's going to be giving a mini message here, and you don't want to miss this. Yeah, you do not want to miss this. You guys don't want to miss this. Make sure you invite your friends and your family and your neighbors, anybody that you love or that matters to you. You'll want to have them here with you. 2 more things, and that is, Dorcas, do you want to come tell us about our outreach?
Our outreach Sunday this month and early June is actually one of our favorite ones from last year. It's Operation Care and Comfort, where we're gathering donations of items for active military who are stationed overseas, typically in Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq and all of those really miserable places to be stationed in. And we're at the table that is right by the exit door. You can come by and get a shopping list for that. Starting next week, for 4 weeks, we're also going to be writing cards and letters to those stationed active military folks. And the tables will be in Fellowship Hall. So please join us in that project.
Dorcas, how many cards did we write last year?
We wrote 350 last year.
We'd like to double that this year.
Yay.
So we'd like to have you write a card. So if you have any issue with the United States military, no. This is an opportunity, exactly. This is an opportunity for you to actually be in service and make an impact in the United States military in a sweet and beautiful way. So rather than be on the sidelines cursing and complaining, the war machine, step in and make an impact from the inside. I invite you, I dare you, I double dog dare you to try that out. Finally and lastly, Suzanne and Jan, can you come help us out?
So we've had Gourmet for God bidding going on the last 4 weeks. This is the last 49 minutes for you to finish your bidding at 1 o'clock.
And you know what else happens at 1 o'clock?
What?
Your mom is going to be watching the Giants.
Oh, that's
play.
true. 1:10. And in fact, we really love baseball in my
we're
family.
big
So,
fans.
well, why don't you just take us out to the bidding tables, put a pen in our hands. Gourmets for God bidding ends today. You can't win if you don't play, so it's bid, bid, bid for the ones you want. There's plenty for all to play. Come hang with friends old and new, bidding ends today.
Would you all please stand and take the hand of the person on your right and on your left? And won't you know with me that you and I are never alone, but that God is where we are right now and always. And the only thing we will ever need to do is look inside ourselves, because it is there we will find that we are guided and sustained and directed and inspired and nurtured by this thing itself that knows only good. And joyously, let us make use of these gifts in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do, and so it is.
And so it is.
And as is our custom, won't you please repeat after me? I am at home in the heart of God.
I am at home in the heart of God.
My life is anchored in truth.
My life is anchored in truth.
I can never be separate.
I can never be separate.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I release all fear.
I release all fear.
I am living love.
I am living love.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day! I woke up this morning saying, God is so good. I woke up this morning saying, God is so good. I woke up this morning saying, God is so good. My God is so good to me. God is so good, yeah. When I'm shopping with my mother, God is so good. God is so good. My God is so good to me. Yeah. Maybe I'll be here Saturday. In every way, God is so good. Every day, in every way, God is so good. Take the time to praise the Spirit. God is so good.